And we're back for another tournament in a tea break. I'm Ros Satar from Britwatch Sports.
My name is René Denfeld from MyTennis.
And we are at the end of day 5. And it's actually been a pretty good day, not least of which we've actually had a full day of tennis.
We had a full day of tennis, and we've been able to to complete the second round on the 5th day. I personally didn't think it was going to be possible at the start of the tournament. I thought we were definitely going to overlap, but we don't have any matches from day 2 taking place tomorrow. Both Serena Williams and Julia Gerges finishing just like 10 minutes before darkness was truly going to fall. So I think everyone here is pretty not just stoked about many of the third rounds that we've got, but also stoked about the fact that we got everything done and dusted today, which was not a given at the start of this week.
On the subject of third rounds, let's just have a quick word about the depth of the third rounds on the WTA side, because it really is phenomenal. It always winds me up, and I'm sure you feel the same when people sort of say, oh, the women's game is so boring, there's no depth, it just changes from week to week. For me, that's what makes its most exciting, the fact that there is so many people in contention to make a run. And I'm just waiting for René to quickly flick through his Twitter to find a list of some of the third round matches that are coming up. So, René, hit me, baby.
It's all, as I said, it's all, fire. All fuego.
Fuego yourself, silly boy.
Fuego. It's all fuego. For example, Kerber Bertens, Muguruza Stosur, Julia Gerges, Serena Williams, Sharapova, Karolina Pliskova, Keys Osaka, Kvitova Kontaveit, Kasatkina Sakkari. So it's a lot. There's a lot of really, really good matches in there, and even those that might not have the big names. So, for example, I would also totally tune in to watch Putin Seva Wang if that was the only match available at that time. I'll totally watch it. So, I'm pretty excited. I'm also slightly terrified by the fact that only one of Julia Gerges, Karolina Pliskova, Serena Williams, and Maria Sharapova will be a quarter-finalist. So the rest will all be lose in the third round or in the fourth round, which sounds completely weird, but that's just how stacked that section of the draw is. So I'm super excited about this third round. These third rounds on the women's side, I think we'll have a lot of fun over the next 2 days, and a couple of heartbreakers, but a lot of fun, I suppose.
Well, one of the third rounds that stands out, and we'll give Serena a section all of her own, but the one that stands out is obviously Karolina Pliskova and Maria Sharapova. Pliskova has done her usual thing. She's kind of flown under the radar a little bit.
Hasn't played too well, been serving too well, as she said herself, but she said like her main goal, or one of her main goals, was making the third round, because she's really looking forward to play Maria, as she said in press. So she's really excited to because she said, I haven't played against her that often. She only played against her in Fed Cup in the finals a few years ago. So she's looking forward to the challenge. Pretty much Maria said the same thing in her press. She's looking forward to the challenge of playing a big server of someone who's been playing well over the course of the clay court season. So I'm looking forward to it as well, like, to put it mildly. So yeah, it should be. Hopefully it'll be a good one. I hope it'll be a good one, and I hope it'll get a good court and a good crowd. So yeah.
Well, on the subject of good court, I did love somebody was asking Sharapova, was she ready to play on a big court? Well, honey, she's won twice, so was she ready to play on a big court? Because it was Pliskova and she was likely to put on, and she just said without missing a beat, it's also Sharapova too. But yeah, I think that's probably one of the standout third rounds that jumps at us. Let's quickly skip along to the lads. Mixed fortunes for our pet youngsters that we've been keeping an eye on really today. Denis Shapovalov was a bit of a surprise to go out.
Yes, yeah, but I also think that, for example, that Maximilian Martel showed up really well. He played a really, really good and a solid match, and Shapovalov blew a little bit hot and cold here and there in the important moments, especially at the end of the fourth set, for example. And I think it's still learning. Even though his ranking shot up at a very, very fast pace, he's still underneath there's still a learning curve,
Yeah.
and that's what he's still on, especially when it comes to best of 5 matches, when it comes to playing Grand Slams. So patience is a bit of a virtue here. I know young people hate hearing that. I can say that now because I'm 30, so that is I'm
you're
allowed
still
to,
young.
I'm allowed to say that now, but patience is a virtue, but people, obviously, like a 19-year-old would hate to hear that, but he was very reasonable about it in press. I think Shapovalov gave a very, very solid press conference afterwards, very reasonable about the match, about what he did well, what he didn't do well, and give him a bit of time. I think he'll be very good on the surface in the next couple of years, actually. So, not the result that many might have expected, but I thought also it was a thoroughly enjoyable match. It was a really good match.
Well, somebody who is good on the clay, it was another impressive performance from the British side as Kyle Edmund finds himself the last Brit standing in the singles. And I say that with emphasis because I remember once writing a headline and a bunch of very angry people yelled at me for a week and a day about how Jamie Murray was still in the doubles. I know Jamie Murray is still in the doubles, as is Heather Watson. We're talking about the singles here. Kyle Edmund is still going strong. A paper cut on his little pinky caused him a little bit of distraction, and also, to be fair, Fuchsovics played extremely well, having been completely blattered in the first set. There was a pleasing kind of OCD to that scoreline, though, of like 6-love, 1-6, 6-2, 6-3. It's the kind of scoreline that I actually quite like.
It has a nice little.
We can't call it symmetry, but
it rises up. It's rising nicely.
It's almost like Fibonacci sequency.
It's a nice one.
It's like the Da Vinci Code of tennis scores. But again, Kyle is very. At the moment, he's very, very confident. He looks the part. He's swinging the part. He was even a lot more relaxed and impressed than we've seen him of late. I definitely think he can probably take Fabio Fognini on. I think I described Fognini as more streaky than a plate of bacon on a Sunday brunch. And you never know, obviously, with Fognini, which one you're going to get without any of the charm of a film quote from Forrest Gump. So it depends on which Fognini turns up. There is a kind of report that he's been struggling with a foot injury, and under normal circumstances he would have just pulled out. But obviously Roland Garros is a kind of special tournament for him.
If he's fit enough to make a third round, I wouldn't put...
Yeah, exactly. On a complete side note, though, did you see the quote about the next gen?
I did. Good on
but
him.
That sentence about Muguruza and Kuznetsova should have been someplace else. I think I sense Flavia's input here.
I mean, good on him. I don't know whose input it is. Good on him that he actually said that, but that's basically like, I don't know, a dime in a lot of bathed in a lot of it's like finding a dime in a sewer, which I know is also his nickname. So.
I like the way you did that. Well done.
So yeah, good on him for saying one good thing. Doesn't erase the 200,000 dreadful things that he said over the past decade. So we'll skip along quickly on the topic of Fabio Fognini. Agreed that Kyle Edmund is looking good. I also think that Kyle Edmund's got a reasonable draw in general.
Yep.
I'm not going to say back-to-back semi-finals, but I think Kyle Edmund is not entirely without a chance of doing that. So, as for the rest, I think not too many surprises. Diego Schwartzman going through, Rafael Nadal going through, facing his very best friend Richard Gasquet, whom he's 15 to love against. So if you expect this one to turn 15-1 tomorrow, and you bet on that, I think you're going to end up as a filthy rich human being. So congratulations, and 2 days, congratulations to you. And then, and Kevin Anderson's still in there, Marion Cilic in there, Juan Matilde and Potra. So like the big seeds
There's
all held up fairly well today on the men's side. And I think same essentially for the women's side. It's like, for as much, as you said earlier, as people like to rip on the women's tour for for example, if we've got a lot of the seeds in there, so that would make it usually boring. And now we've got a lot of close matches that could go either way on the women's side. So that shows that like everyone can beat everyone, and that's not a sign of depth. That's a sign of weakness. So as you all know, I as I said, I think most of the seeds held up pretty well today. Not a lot of shocks. If you think that Tsurenko beating Van de Wey is a shock, I don't think it is.
Yes, you should go and lie down in a darkened room.
Same for Begu and Zhang, so those are like non-shocks in terms of like who went through.
And of course, with Ashley Barty, who was the 17th seed, facing Serena Williams, on paper, obviously, it should be the seed that goes through. But we know that Barty isn't particularly enamoured with the clay, and you could see at the end of that match exactly what that meant to Serena to win. She says. And she said in her press conference, I won a few games, I lost a few games. It was actually a lot tighter than that. But she had to deal with a rather excitable Parisian crowd doing the Parisian wave. And she actually really dug it. She thought it was pretty cool, wasn't really sure whether to serve, whether to not serve and let them get through it. And I also think there was an element of her just taking it in because she was back and this was effectively for her. I
think she also said, look, I really tried to enjoy it, but I'm not sure if she was like taking it, but she was taking it for what it was. She didn't get like massively like it didn't throw her off. I was wondering whether it was going to throw her off when she was serving at 4-3 and at 5-4 after both change of ends. I thought, is this gonna, like the fact that she is at the service line at the baseline waiting for about half a minute or a minute to actually hit a serve, whether that was going to throw her off a little or not, but didn't. I think the first set Serena Williams did not look as sharp as she did the other day, and I think she turned it around pretty well.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think so.
Really well in the second and third set. Hit some great winners. Served much better. Serve was pretty much AWOL in the first set, I felt, and Barty just kind of missed the chance and just started playing a little more passively as well. So it was both things meeting at ends, like at the start of the second set, and from there on Serena was.
Yeah, I suspect Barty allowed herself a little bit to get overwhelmed by the occasion, but all in all, a good day. It's good that we are up to date after, quite frankly, 4 very shocking days of weather. So what have we got to look forward to tomorrow? Starting
early. It would be Alexander Zverev trying to make the second week here. I mean, Sunday 4th round, second week. Yes, debatable, but. Heavy favorite, I think, in his first round match on Chatrier with Zoomer, and but for me, the real, no disrespect to Wozniacki, Puig, Stevens on Chatrier, but to me the real action is, for example, on Langland with Kisa Saka. You've got Djokovic on there, Goffin, Monfils, Kvitova, Kontaveit. Especially the women's matches to me are the ones that I'm really, really big on, and. And also out on 18, for example, Kasatkina, Sakai, Nishikori, Simon. Those are like, if you have grounds passes tomorrow here, you're in for a really, really good time. So I think the more stacked half feels like the Saturday. Feels like the more stacked half, but still, tennis that is on display tomorrow is going to be pretty good. And I think from a British side, also. Fair to point out that Jimmy Murray and Bruno Suarez are going to be out on court 3 as the last match. So that's going to be a very doubles-heavy match. If you like doubles, a couple of really good ones there as well.
So, all in all, the message that we're trying to bring you is we're going to be a lot more cheerful now that we're all up to date and not carrying forward quite late. So we will be back with our roundup of day 6 for you. In the meantime, you have, of course, been listening to Ros Satar from Britwatch Sports.
And René Denfeld from MyTennis.
Thank you for listening.
Au revoir.